It has been said that if God made anything more beautiful than the horse, He kept it for Himself. Breeders, owners, and trainers of the American Saddlebred and Hackney have carefully developed and nurtured their horses and ponies to be the most stylish of all equine breeds, each possessing unrivaled beauty, athletic ability, and intelligence. Whether riding or driving, using them in the show ring or at home in the pastures, or riding and driving in non-traditional show ring competitions, these prolific breeds separate themselves from all others because of their style. The history and romance of these two breeds go back well beyond the early 1890s, when both the American Hackney Horse Society and the American Saddlebred Horse Association were first formed. Although they started worlds apart, the American Saddlebred and Hackney virtually paralleled one another on their rise to prominence in the show ring of today. A product of a mix of breeds, primarily the Narragansett Pacer and the Thoroughbred, the early Saddler was a horse of choice for plantation owners and Civil War generals alike for their easy gait, docile temperament, great power of endurance, and overall beauty and expression. Southern owners used these horses for work, transportation, and bragging rights, and carefully crossed the best of these saddlers to form the horse we know today as the American Saddlebred. Known as a peacock of the show ring, the Saddlebred has proven to possess great versatility, able to excel in many settings. The Hackney traces its roots to England, as its early ancestors were known as trotting horses that could easily cover great distances of rough ground. King Henry VIII required the wealthy to keep a number of trotting horse stallions, which became known as Norfolk trotters. In the mid-1700s, this line of horses became known as the shale horse, which would evolve into the Hackney horse. In 1870, the Hackney horse was crossed with the Fell and Welsh ponies to create the Hackney pony that we know today. The Hackney was imported to the northeast section of the United States to be used for stylish transportation. It could be found pulling carriages through the streets of the northeast major cities, and eventually, as motorized transportation was invented, horsemen saw the Hackney's use transformed to a show horse and pony. The American Saddlebred and the Hackney pony eventually found themselves performing in the nation's most prestigious show rings because of their extreme athletic ability, beautiful presence, and love of performing. As these equine athletes evolved, so did their owners and usage. Decades ago, mostly the wealthy owned and exhibited these breeds. Today, families and individuals from coast to coast, both in and out of the show ring, enjoy these breeds. We invite you to join us on this journey of the aristocrats of the equine world.
My name is Misty Wrigley Miller, and I've been involved with the American Saddlebred for about 20 years, breeding and competing. An American Saddlebred horse shares the qualities of a great American. The horse has a wonderful work ethic. He will give you 110% to complete the task at hand. He is strong, courageous, powerful, yet can be very kind, gentle, loving, is great with children. And like most Americans, he has a very rich and diverse genetic background. In fact, he shares a unique connection with us Americans, as one of his forebears was a type of horse called the Narragansett Pacer. And that is the type of horse that Paul Revere rode on his famous Midnight Ride. So the American Saddlebred horse is uniquely American and has some wonderful, wonderful traits that have been developed over the years as the horse helped develop America.
My name's Alan R. Ron. I'm from Cumming, Iowa, and we do run a Hackney and Saddlebred breeding operation in addition to the training. I think the quickness, they're exceptionally smart breed, and they're very quick, and they respond to training quickly too. You don't have to repeat things as much. Horses do learn by repetition, of course, but a good Hackney pony picks up real quick, and it doesn't take long when he can be shown.
The horses mean so much to my children, and when I think back when we first started, all I knew of horses was trail horses. And sometimes you look at them and they have kind of blank stares on their face, and I just think, that's fine. I'm sure they have a heart and a soul, but I just don't see it. But when my first visit to take my daughter to ride an American Saddlebred, and she walked in the stall and he just wrapped his neck around her and he just nickered and whinnied, and I thought, oh, what is this horse? It's almost like a dog.
What excites me about the American Saddlebred is his heart, his intelligence, his spirit, his ability to do whatever is asked of him. And at the same time, this is a very elegant horse. His profile is unmistakable. When you see his profile from a distance, it stands out. That is an American Saddlebred. The neck being very high set on his shoulders, the beautiful curve of his neck, very deep, wide chest that allows for his big heart, very strong back, strong hindquarters, which gives him the athletic ability to do everything that we ask of this horse.
Well, the amazing part about it is that once you see these kids showing in hands, and they're, these kids are like 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and then as time goes by, pretty soon you see them driving ponies in the show ring. Pretty soon they own 3 or 4 ponies, and then you see their moms and their dads driving harness ponies or cobtails or row ponies. So it's a progression that it seems like once they get in, they're hooked.
As a parent, I'm not even the one that's involved with the horse, but I love to pet them and be with them and brush them and everything, and I just think that that's what they love about it, is that they feel the heart of the horse.
The horse is so versatile and can do so many different things. Whether you're interested in competing in a show ring, the horse is able to be ridden. He's a great driving horse, but also he can be ridden out on the trail. He's not afraid of anything, and he'll do whatever you ask him to do.
Why I would recommend a family to get involved with the Hackney Pony, because it's a lifetime affair, and it's a relationship between the family and the pony that never dies.
You really don't have to have any previous experience to be involved in a saddlebred. There are so many farms and that have great lesson programs. Every barn is very welcoming and open to people that you can come in and get acquainted with a saddlebred and ride a saddlebred, and once you've been on the back of a saddlebred, you'll never go back.
This morning we have an adult lady who's going to take a beginner driving lessons. This lady developed an interest in saddlebred horses as an adult, and she decided that driving would be a good place to start her horse career. At the time, our instructor is giving beginner points to our driver on how to correctly hold the reins, explaining the relationship between the bit in the horse's mouth and the light touch of a driver's hands. The correct way to hold the reins and whip has been explained, and the instructor feels confident that the driver has got a command of how to stop and start the horse. He'll ask her to step up to a trot. When a person is taking a driving lesson after they've mastered starting and stopping correctly with respect to a horse's mouth, then they will begin making turns. The part of this is understanding the shafts, which are the wooden parts attached to the cart beside the horse, how they fit on the horse.
Okay, remember yesterday, we're gonna be square, we're gonna be even on either side, because if you tip to your left, she's gonna shoot right. You tip to your right, she's gonna shoot left. Heel, stay down. I want you to scoot up just a little bit, okay? So your weight is over your feet, because you're like a building. Roof, middle, basement, okay? Okay, sweetie, so walk. Now sit back right there, you sit back. Feel the contact with your bridle. That's all right. Now say trot. Big deep breath, heels down, look straight up at Holly, straight on your rail. So tiny little bit of right leg. Good girl, I want you to switch your diagonal back. Good girl. Now push that right shoulder down. Get ready for your whoop walk. Sit back, Keep your heels down. All right, now whoop, walk, slow your body. Good, let's turn to your left. Now Kirsty, find me, look at me. Look up, shoulders back, sit down, heels down. Good, step with her.
We raised 6 kids with Hackney ponies. They all had chores to do. They've all turned out to be responsible adults. And part of that, I'm sure, is due to the Hackney pony and showing the Hackney pony.
What makes a hackney useful in other disciplines outside the show ring is the fact that it's a purebred horse that can do just about any job and can do it well. It's a horse that has a conformation that's capable of being ridden under saddle, driven. It can pull carriages. It can be used for an abundance of jobs, and it's the aristocrat of the show ring and of the show horse world in respects to its natural ability to lift its legs and hold its head in the air to allow that. So it's a great breed to do just about anything with.
The horse has to be paying attention to what I'm saying. He can't second guess me. He has to be really cute to, okay, you're telling me to go right there, and there might be 2 options that are only 6 inches apart, and he has to say, oh, you're telling me to go to the right of that post, not to the left. So what I find is that really the saddlebreds do have the mind to do pretty much whatever you ask them. You just have to explain, this is what we're doing now. And then they say, okay, I can do that. And how do you want me to do it? And then they do it. So if you take them in the show ring and say, okay, I want your ears up and your eyes rolling back and really, looking like you're on fire, they can do that. And then when you say, okay, now I want you to relax and stretch down and do that, they can do that. And then when you say, okay, now I want you to gallop full speed through the hazards, he was having fun. He just, his ears were up and he was just, rolling along having a great time.
The great thing about the saddlebred is that they are so versatile. So, if you find that right horse out there, you could show him as a Western horse, you could show him as a hunter horse, you could show him as a pleasure horse, you could ride him on the trails. He might be a lead line mount for one of your small kids. He might be a horse that your older parent could drive and show in harness. So they are incredibly versatile, and that's one of the greatest things about the saddlebred and also about the hackney, that they're easy to get into.
So the hackney horse, beautiful big gelding, 11 years old, shown really outside the normal hackney that we see in the show ring. Today was shown in hunt seat attire, and really nice big moving horse to show the versatility of the breed and what the breed is capable of. What's really interesting is the conformation of that horse in the frame that he was in. Fits in for any type of riding, and it's nice to see a hackney do something that we normally don't see.
I started with the hackneys because I had one, and I thought, there's a lot of hackneys that haven't maybe made it in the show ring that are still, powerful, athletic animals that could do other things. And so I started doing combined driving with them, and I've had a lot of fun. And they're still great movers, so that's sort of an easy thing. I think some people shy away from them because if you haven't worked with hackneys, they seem like they're little madmen. They have their moments of being a little bit excited, but they come right back and they're quiet. I can gallop around and have them jumping up and down in the hazard and then drop the reins and walk out of it. So they're very versatile and super athletic.
This young lady is trotting, doing a posting trot, and I want to speak a little bit about how her position is. A lot of times the saddle seat riders are criticized because their legs are not fully engaged on the side of the horses. And there's a very sound reason for that. The touches are more sensitive to these breeds, and therefore when a leg is applied or a bridle is touched, it's a little bit of a lighter and quicker timing. The other denominator that our riders work toward is understanding that the horse moves in a vertical as well as a horizontal plane. So we're constantly working our horse forward and then back to us. Most of the horses' necks, if you can envision in your mind, a little seahorse. That's the ideal head carriage representation for a saddle seat horse. The American Saddlebred is actually a product of 5 different breeds of horses. The Arabian, which is the foundation horse for all breeds, the English Thoroughbred, the Narragansett Pacer, the Standardbred, and the Morgan. Each one of those breeds gives the American Saddlebred a unique characteristic.
Very nice. And halt. Good, just let her stop and stand a second. We reach down and give her a good pat on the neck.
People say, well, they look at the pictures and they say he's not using his ears. But he is using his ears the way we want him to because he's paying attention to the driver. It's a little bit of the same thing as an actor. An actor can go on and act in a certain way, but that doesn't mean that the person is what you see on the screen. So when you take a saddlebred out of the show ring and you tell them, okay, now you don't have to do that, then they don't.
As you are seeing, this young lady is taking a Western lesson on the Saddlebred horse, and the instructor is just giving her a little bit of quality time outside and enjoying this gorgeous day.
And when you're ready, let's pick up a lope from your jog. Just lots of right leg. Very nice. Nice transition. Slow and collected, and relax and soften. Reverse and walk. Very nice usage of your leg to help push her around. Good, now a little left leg. Try to keep her on that straight line. Okay, let's lope again. Very nice. And now let's bring her back down to a jog. Just sit deep, use your voice. Very nice. Good, just put a little bend in your right elbow. There you go. Just relax and soften. One cluck. Good.
Now Julie's back with our new rider in the hunter equipment. This is the same little mare.
Very nice. Very nice.
And our rider's working with her to get her to flex at the poles a little bit. And you'll notice on our rider that we are adopting the traditional hunter style of position, where we have a close contact leg and our hands are in a little bit different position.
All right, let's go ahead and pick up a canter. Very nice and smooth. Good. Nice and steady with her head. Nice and light and soft with your fingers, maintaining that lower leg contact. Good. Okay, perfect. Now just let her halt for a minute. Stop and stand. Give her a nice pet on the neck. Good job.
I'm Carson Kressley, and you might recognize me from TV, but what my real passion is, and what I've been doing for a long time since I was a really little kid, is showing Hackney ponies and saddlebred horses. So it's really what I live for.
A great horse at full rank, going as fast as he can. That's about it in terms of excitement and joy as a horseman.
My favorite part of competing with saddlebreds and Hackney ponies is probably initially just the love of the animal. To me, the best part of showing is the relationship I have with my horse or my pony, and from there it's just the thrill of being in the ring and competing.
More than any other athletic activity out there, and you see all the different Olympic sports, and kids are into soccer and baseball and all these things, there's nothing where you bond with an animal like you do when you're showing a horse, and that's a very special thing.
I was in the World Equestrian Games. I was in the opening ceremony and drove in harness Call Me Ringo, who got tremendously excited by the thousands of people in the stands and just came alive and maybe put on his best show. And I had the best time, but so did Ringo.
Saddlebreds and Hackney ponies have given me an amazing social life, friends that I feel like I'll have for the rest of my life. I've been competing against a lot of people for years now. I'm traveling to Africa on the invitational team. Those will be my friends for life. Those are amazing experiences, and they're all over the country and all over the world, and it's really special.
Showing horses for me has built more friendships and just made me connections. Just the fun times that you have with all your friends and the relationships that you make with your horses and with friends, just all of a fun experience.
You know, I think when your children are young, you start putting them in activities thinking, you know, that it's good for them, that they're going to get exercise, and they're going to really enjoy what they're doing. It'll keep them busy. What I didn't know at the time as a young mother was that they're going to learn so many life lessons, as well as I have with the Saddlebreds.
You know, most families are running little Becky to ballet, and then they're taking Tommy to soccer, and then maybe the parents are, you know, playing tennis in the afternoon. This is that thing where you can kind of still have that family time together.
The American Saddlebred Association offers wonderful opportunities for the youth. The one that I really enjoy working with are the youth clubs. The type of activities that you can do with your club are promotions, community service, and fundraising. And through those activities, I feel like the youth become well-rounded people.
What programs are available for the youth through the American Hackney Horse Society is the medallion program that we participate through various shows around the country. That's entry level, but the kids can get in on an entry level, but also compete on a higher level at Kansas City. And those youth medallion classes qualify you for the medallion finals at Kansas City.
They've learned how to compete with others, you know, and be friends. They've learned how to win and lose and be gracious about it. They've learned what a privilege it is to be able to own a horse.
It is incredibly easy compared to maybe showing a cutting horse or compared to showing a Grand Prix jumper. Those sports require a lot of time in the saddle and a lot of one-on-one with the horse, and you really have to know what you're doing and be in sync. I can go when I have time, so it's a great escape for me.
Well, I think I would have died 20 years ago if it wasn't for the horses. They've given me this amount of time, and I expect to have another 20 years. I will continue to ride and drive horses as long as I can live.